Alright everyone, what is up? It is I, the Masked Ranger, with Chapter 7 of Empathy, Close Encounters. In the last part, in Chapter 6, Riley celebrated her birthday with all of her friends and family at the ice rink. It was all a great time, and it turns out that the new relationship is just beginning. Well, we accidentally maybe found out that Tadashi and Honey Lemon in this story are together. And, they helped Riley to push forward her new relationship with Hiro with a kiss on the cheek. So I can't wait to see how that develops. In the meantime, let us begin Chapter 7. Bill Anderson wished for the umpteenth time that he had shaved that morning. He tried not to appear nervous as he rubbed the stubble on his face before adjusting his blue tie and straightening his black suit jacket. He glanced at his watch quickly before looking over at the pretty young secretary sitting on the other side of the spacious waiting room. She seemed to feel Bill's gaze, prompting her to look up and flash an apologetic smile at him. "I'm sorry for the wait, Mr. Anderson," she stated. "I'm sure Mr. Krei will see you in just a moment." "No problem," Bill stated as he went back to nervously tapping his fingers on the briefcase sitting in his lap. Turning his gaze away from the secretary, Bill looked out the wide windows nearby, observing the large complex from the top floor of the central building, which also provided a good view of the city beyond. Bill sighed as he saw that the sun had already almost completely dipped below the horizon. The phone on the secretary's desk beeped, and she quickly picked it up, making a few noises of affirmation before placing it down again. "Mr. Krei will see you now," she informed him with a beaming smile. "Thank you," Bill replied with a nod as he stood up and adjusted his tie. Taking a calming breath, Bill collected himself before walking up to the frosted glass doors that led to the office beyond and opened them. The office that lay before Bill was possibly the largest he had ever seen that was set aside for a single person. Towering windows occupied most of the everfree walls, providing a spectacular view of the surrounding area. A fine red carpet covered the floor and large exotic-looking plants flanked the doorway Bill had stepped through, the door sliding shut behind him. Bill's eyes drifted from the rich leather couches that surrounded the coffee table made of rare wood that sat at the center of the room, to the large mahogany desk across from him. Sitting behind the desk was a man who looked a few years older than Bill, with coiffed, light brown hair, sharp features, and a prominent nose. He wore a blue sports jacket over a crisp white shirt. He regarded Bill with blue eyes as he entered. "Mr. Anderson," he greeted with a friendly smile as Bill stepped forward. "Good to see you." "It's good to see you too, Mr. Krei," Bill replied, trying to keep the nervousness out of his voice. "Please, call me Alistair," Krei stated before indicating towards one of the chairs sitting in front of his desk. "Have a seat, Bill. Can I call you Bill?" Sure thing," Bill answered as he walked across the room and sat down in the offered seat. "Excellent," Alistair replied with a charming smile. "Sorry to keep you waiting. We're utterly swamped here. I'm sure you know what that's like, though." "Yeah, of course," Bill stated as he set his briefcase down next to him. "I was honestly surprised you wanted to meet with me." "Well, from what I understand, you had some concerns about the project," Alistair said as he leaned back in his swiveling chair. I wouldn't call them concerns, just questions," Bill replied. "I figured I'd be meeting with the project manager on this, not the CEO." "I understand. That must have been a surprise," Alistair said with a laugh. "I've taken a special interest in this project, Bill. That's why I acquired your company. I only hire the best." "Thank you, sir," Bill replied, caught off guard by the compliment. "It's Alistair. Sir is even... Sorry, it's still on road time and turn off. Sir is even worse than Mr. Krei," he said with a grin. "Now, what questions did you have for me? Everything is running smoothly, I take it?" Yes, the modulin is working fine, Bill reassured him. Everything is coming along as expected. And luckily the modulin isn't spewing venom. Excellent. What seems to be the problem then? Alistair asked. My engineers were just wondering about the additions he requested. Bill answered hesitantly. Is there something wrong with them? Alistair questioned as he tensed slightly. Do they interfere with the rest of the systems? No, we can add them just fine, Bill assured him with a shake of his head. We were just wondering why a robot built for space exploration needs a weapons system. There was a pause, during which Bill noticed Alistair's jaw tighten, and he began to desperately think of a way to take his words. Worries were forgotten, though, as Alistair let out a chuckle. I suppose that's a fair question, Alistair relented with a nod. Basically, we just want to be prepared for any eventuality. You never know when you'll need to remove an obstacle the old-fashioned way. All right, Bill replied, but he didn't seem fully convinced. Before Bill could finish, what sounded like an alarm going off somewhere else in the complex caught both his and Alistair's attention. Alistair's eyes narrowed as he turned his attention towards the noise and began to rise from his seat, but stopped when the phone on his desk beeped. Yes, I hear them. What's the situation? Alistair said as he picked the receiver up and placed it to his ear before a grimace crossed his features. Well then, get it contained, and I need someone to escort my guest out. You do that. With that, Alistair practically slammed the receiver back onto its holder, his features a mixture of annoyance and worry. After a moment, he turned his attention back to Bill. Is everything all right? Bill questioned. I'm sorry, Bill. We seem to be dealing with a minor emergency at the moment, Alistair explained. Nothing to worry about, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. For your own safety, you understand. Yes, of course, Bill replied, quickly standing up and grabbing his briefcase off of the floor. As he did, two burly men dressed in matching black suits, their eyes obscured by dark sunglasses, entered the office. It's the men in black! These gentlemen will see you out safely, Alistair stated as he gestured to the men. Keep up the good work, Bill. I'll talk with you soon. Bill nodded in reply and allowed himself to be led away by the security guards. The two men led Bill quickly through the building, but even then, he still managed to catch sight of a few things, like employees running around and lights in the hallways that had begun flashing red. Eventually, the three of them reached the parking garage at the bottom of the building and, after he pointed it out to them, the security guards led Bill over to his car. As they reached it, one of the guards pulled a small flashlight out of his pocket and began shining it through the windows, looking at the blankets and duffel bags that had been left in the back before checking under the car. Is everything all right? Bill asked as he pulled out his car keys and unlocked the car. Fine, sir, the other guard said as he opened the door for Bill. Just standard security check for these kinds of instances. Standard? Bill questioned as he got into his car. What exactly are you looking for? Have a good night, sir, the guard replied before closing the car door firmly and gesturing for Bill to leave. Bill eyed the guard for a moment before starting his car and driving away. As he exited through the front gate, Bill spared a glance back at the complex with his rearview mirror, the radio tower on top of the central building standing tall over the surrounding area, before turning his attention to the road in front of him. Just missing the head that emerged slowly from beneath the blankets in the back, wide eyes watching the Krei Corporation fade behind them. Oh my. It looks like... Remember when I said that Big Hero 6, Inside Out and Home would be crossing over in a big way? One of its main characters, and I'm not joking, is going to be joining us soon. Later. Bill sighed as he walked up the stairs to his front door, his suit jacket slung over one shoulder. Night had fallen, and Bill could see light flowing out through the windows. Opening the door, he was greeted by the sound of friendly chatter coming from the kitchen. So I've got the design down, Bill heard a voice he recognized as Hiro say. I'm just working out some problems with the neurotransmitter. It isn't picking up brainwaves correctly. Sounds tricky, Tip commented. Yeah, but if I can figure this out, the rest should be easy, Hiro replied. You'll figure it out, Riley said encouragingly, and Bill noticed her reaching out to lay a hand on top of Hiro's as he entered the room, finding the 3 children sitting at the kitchen table. Tip's cat Pig is sitting in the girl's lap. Evening, he greeted, shooting a look at Hiro and Riley as he entered. Dad! Riley squeaked in surprise, yanking her hand back like she'd been hurt. How was your day? Exhausting, Bill sighed as he placed his briefcase on the floor. There are some leftovers in the fridge for you, Jill called from the living room. We should probably get going, Tip stated, nodding towards Hiro as she talked. I have to go finish my homework, and I'm sure Boy Genius has some things he needs to tinker with. Riley, since your friends are leaving, could you take out the trash? Jill asked as Hiro and Tip got up to leave, Pig hopping off the girl's lap and onto the floor. Sure thing, Mom, Riley replied, standing up, pulling the full trash bag out of the waste basket, and tying it closed before she followed her friends out the door as they bid her parents good night. Did you want me to walk over with you to the dumpster? Hiro suggested as they made their way down the stairs. Why would she need you to do that? Tip questioned, quirking an eyebrow at Hiro as they stepped onto the sidewalk, Pig by her side. I was just... Hiro tried to say, his face flushing with embarrassment as he tried to explain himself. I wanted to... It's okay, Hiro, I understand, Riley stated, reaching out and taking his hand in hers and giving it a squeeze to calm him. But it's all right. I'll be fine. I'm not scared of some dark alleyway. Okay, Hiro replied with a dejected tone. I understand. But, Riley added, her expression turning shy as she continued to hold Hiro's hand. I wouldn't mind the company. Hiro smiled at this while Tip rolled her eyes. Look, if you two are going to make out by the dumpster, then whatever, Tip commented, causing Hiro and Riley to blush furiously. Moment killer here! But I'm going to go home so that I can... Tip trailed off as she looked past Hiro and Riley with a confused expression. Did your dad leave his trunk open? Tip questioned. Turning around, Riley and Hiro saw that the rear door of her father's station wagon was standing wide open. That's weird, Riley muttered as she walked over to the car. It didn't look like he took anything out of the trunk. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the alleyway nearby, causing the 3 to jump in surprise, their hearts leaping into their throats. As they spun around to look at the alley, Pig let out a hiss, arcing his back and baring his teeth before he went racing into the alley with a yowl. Pig, wait! Tip cried, but was too slow to stop the cat as he disappeared down the alley. What was that? Hiro questioned as he looked back at Riley. I don't know, Riley replied, before she reached into the car and pulled out a hockey stick sitting in the trunk. You still want to take that walk with me? Sorry, I messed up the take there. Hiro nodded in reply before shooting a glance at Tip, who nodded as well. Together, the 3 of them walked over to the alley and peered down it. The alley was a narrow one that ran between 2 houses, illuminated by light, filtering out of the 2 surrounding windows. An open dumpster sat halfway down the alley, surrounded by empty boxes and metal trash cans, one of which lay on its side, its contents spilled onto the ground. No movement could be seen, and no sound could be heard. Pig? Tip whispered as the 3 children began making their way down the alley, Riley holding her hockey stick above her head. Pig, where are you? As if to answer, a loud yowl pierced the silence, followed by a crash and a frightened scream. As they watched, something came stumbling into sight, desperately struggling with the calico cat that was assaulting its face. In its struggles, the thing ended up rolling atop one of the boxes before it finally managed to wrench Pig off of its face and toss it aside, the cat landing on his feet a short distance away. Cats always land on their feet. Huffing and puffing, the thing turned to face the children, and they got their first good look at it. The thing standing before them reminded the children of a person mixed with an octopus or a squid, and was short, only standing 4 feet tall at best. Its skin was purple, and completely hairless with an oily sheen to it, while its head was flat, and disproportionately large compared to the rest of its body. In addition, the creature seemed to have no neck or shoulders to speak of, its head flowing into its cylindrical torso, while a pair of tentacle-like arms hung at its sides, ending at hands with 4 long fingers each. Instead of feet, 6 short persuadopods allowed the creature to stand. A tendril sat coiled on either side of the creature's head, and its wide mouth possessed a few large square teeth. The creature wore a single piece of clothing, a blue-colored wrap made out of some sort of synthetic material, lined in purple and held closed over its midsection by a large purple clasp with a swirl design on it. The creature regarded the trio with large, blue, human-like eyes, and stood stock still as they stared at it. After a moment of silence, the children let out screams, "Ah!" prompting the creature to scream as well, "Ah!" its skin turning a bright shade of yellow as it did. Stepping forward, Tip shoved the creature hard in the chest, knocking it off balance and sending it tumbling into the open dumpster. Racing up to the dumpster, Hiro quickly slammed it shut before Riley dropped the trash bag and laced her hockey stick between the handles of the lid, preventing it from being opened. The three quickly backed away from the dumpster, watching it fear, while Pig continued to hiss at it. After a moment, the trio heard a groan and movement inside the dumpster before the lid moved, held shut by the hockey stick. There was a sound of confusion and the lid moved again, still to no avail. Sounds of panic came from the dumpster then, accompanied by the creature inside banging against the lid in a vain attempt to escape. After a moment, the noises ceased, and the lid opened enough for a pair of blue eyes to hesitantly peek out. I haven't seen Home yet, but I do know what that is. I've seen the trailers for it. Greetings, the creature said, the trio able to make out a frightened smile spreading across its features. The children stared at the creature in shock. Did that thing just talk? Riley questioned after a moment. Yes, the creature said happily. I is quite capable of vocal communications. How is it speaking English? Tip asked hesitantly. I has learned your clumsy human tongue, the creature explained. Can I come into the out now? No, you cannot come into the out now, Tip stated pointedly. But I cans. You are only needing to remove the piece of wood, the creature explained as it pointed at the hockey stick holding the lid shut. Yeah, we're not going to do that, Hiro stated. We don't even know what you are. Oh, that is simple. I is Boov, the creature explained with a large grin. Boov? Tip questioned in confusion. Yes, the creature confirmed with a nod of his head. What the hell is a Boov? Riley asked. I is forgetting humans are not all knowing the Boov, the Boov stated with a chuckle. Boov is best species. No, Yak is best species. Best at what? Hiro questioned. Best at running away and groveling, mostly, the Boov answered with a shrug. Boov are also best at deciding what is and is not useful. Can I be coming into the out now? No, the three replied in unison. Well then, I will have to... The Boov pondered before his eyes lit up. I will have to shoot forth the lasers from my eyeballs. There was a pause as the trio regarded O questioningly. You can do that? Riley asked after a moment. Yes, the Boov replied meekly as he turned a bright shade of green. Well, if you shoot your eye lasers, then we'll have no choice but to explode your head, Tip stated with a snort, crossing her arms over her chest as she spoke. Humans, the Boov began to reply hesitantly, humans cannot too explode. We can too, Tip argued. We just don't do it much. It's considered rude, Hiro added with a smirk. Then I am granting you all a truth, the booth replied nervously. You are not exploding my head, and I am not do my devastating eye lasers. Okay, Riley answered with a nod. Truths. May I come into the out now? The booth pleaded. No, we can't let you out until we figure out what's going on, Hiro argued, before sighing. Okay, so, what's your name? I am called O by my many friends, the booth said proudly. Oh? Tip questioned, arcing an eyebrow as she glanced at the others, Hiro offering a shrug in reply. Well, I'm Riley Anderson. Riley introduced herself before motioning to her friends. And these are my friends, Gratuity Tucci and Hiro Hamada. So you're a booth, Hiro spoke up. That's like some sort of alien, right? This is your word for a species not coming from your planet? O questioned, earning nods from the trio. Then yes, Boov are being the aliens. Okay, you're an alien, Hiro surmised. Why are you on our planet? I did not choose to be on Earth, O explained. It was on an accident. Okay, Tip replied, a pensive look on her face. Why are you here, in this alley? I am the hiding, O explained. Hiding from what? Riley asked. The other humans, O elaborated. The ones who ask the questions. Ask the questions? Hiro inquired. Were you being interrogated? No, but I was taken prisoner and asked many of the pointing questions, O answered. Hiro sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. How did you get away? Tip questioned. Humans are simple in not knowing much of the Boov, O explained, grinning pridefully. Boov are best at escaping, and I hid in one of your land vehicles which brought me here. Land vehicle, Riley began to say when realization struck her. You were in my dad's car, weren't you? This is what I have said, but I do not know this my dad, O replied. Where was your dad coming from? Hiro questioned. He had a meeting at Krei Industries, Riley answered, realization dawning on her face. But why was this thing at Krei Industries? Tip asked. Why would they want to hold some alien hostage? Why wouldn't they? Hiro asked. I mean, you guys know why San Francisco is the robot capital of the world, right? Instead of, like, Metroville. The battle in the bay, Riley answered with a look of understanding on her face. Exactly, Hiro stated. The last time alien technology fell into the city's lab, Krei Industries rode the resulting wave all the way to the top. I'm betting they'd do anything to get some more all to themselves. What should we do? Tip questioned, looking lost. Should we tell our parents about him? And then what? Hiro questioned in turn. What if they turn him over to be experimented on? I've heard stuff about this Krei guy. Not a lot of it's good. So what, we leave him here? Tip asked, incredulously. What if he ends up getting crushed by a garbage truck? You wouldn't want that, would you? Of course not, Hiro argued. We could hide him. Why? Tip questioned, growing agitated. For all we know, Krei Industries had him locked up for a good reason. For all we know, he'll try to eat us in our sleep. That is a very silly thing to say, O spoke up with an amused chuckle. We Boov is very flat teeth, not at all good for— Shut up! Tip snapped as she shot a glare at O, cowing the Boov into silence, before turning her attention back to Hiro. Why do you want to help him anyway? I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do, Hiro admitted as he ran a hand through his hair. But look at him. He doesn't look dangerous. I think I could beat him up. Yeah, and that could be a trick to lure you into a false sense of security, Tip pointed out. From what Riley tells me, you know a thing or two about that, hustler. Hiro sighed and offered no argument, turning his attention to Riley, who was watching over with a pensive look on her face. What about you, Riley? Hiro spoke up, bringing the girl's attention to him. What do you think we should do? You could let me into the out, O suggested, a worried look on his face. I do not want to be an experiment. Shh. Riley said, narrowing her eyes at O before turning back to her friends and sighing. I'm not sure what to think. Please, she heard O plead, his voice barely above a whisper. Looking back at O, Riley saw him regarding her with wide, frightened eyes. You're afraid, Riley observed, earning a nod from O. You're afraid of Krei? No, I has not fear for humans, O answered. I has fear they will send me back. Send you back? Riley asked in confusion. Send you back where? Home, O whispered. I has no wish to go home. Why don't you want to go home? Riley questioned in confusion. Please, was all O would say. Riley looked like she wanted to say something else, but suddenly someone appeared at the end of the alley. Riley? Jill's voice drifted down the alley, causing the 3 children to jump in alarm. Mom! Riley said in surprise as she spun around to face her mother. What are you doing here? I was getting worried. You've been out here for a while now, Jill said as she stepped into the alley, not noticing the dumpster lid slowly closing. I thought I heard screams a few minutes ago, too. Sorry, I was about to yawn. Sorry, Mom, Riley paused, glancing over at the dumpster, seeing O's blue eyes silently pleading with her. I got distracted talking to my friends. Yeah, and Pig snuck up on us. It gave us a fright. Tip added as she scooped the cat up. The calico still glaring at the dumpster with his tail raised. All right, well, you should come in now, Joe chided gently as she turned to go. It is a school night. Okay, right behind you, Riley said as she began to follow her mother. As she went, she turned back to Hiro and Tip, nodding at the dumpster. They nodded in reply, and Riley smiled nervously and waved at them before following her mother into the house. There was a silence as Tip and Hiro regarded one another for a moment, before O slowly lifted the dumpster lid and looked out again. May I come into the out now? O questioned hopefully. Yeah, sure, Hiro replied with a sigh as he walked over to the dumpster, removing the hockey stick and opened the lid, allowing O to crawl out. Oh, thanks to you very much, O said graciously as he brushed himself off. Don't fake us yet, Hiro replied as he set the hockey stick against a wall. I don't think any of us are sure this isn't a mistake. What should we do with him? Tip questioned. Well, we can't just leave him here. He'll have to stay with one of us until we figure this out, Hiro answered as O walked up next to him. My place is probably best. I can hide him in the garage. Aren't you worried about your family finding out? Tip questioned as she pet the agitated pig. I'm still not sure we shouldn't tell anyone. I know, but I feel like we should figure things out first, Hiro answered as O wandered over to the overturned trash can and began looking through it. Aunt Cass has never handled surprises very well. Besides, she almost never goes into the garage, so it shouldn't be hard to hide him there. But what about Tadashi? Tip questioned as O leaned down and peered inside the trash can. Yeah, Tadashi might find out, Hiro sighed as he ran a hand through his messy hair. Maybe we should tell him then, Tip suggested. Tadashi is pretty good about figuring out what to do in situations like this. You're right, Hiro agreed with a nod. Tadashi will know what to do. I don't think he's home tonight. I have to tell him the next chance I get. Glancing at the alley, Tip sighed. I should get going before my mom comes looking for me, Tip stated as she began making her way out of the alley. Good luck, boy genius. Thanks, Hiro replied, watching as Tip exited the alley and disappeared around the corner. Glancing to the side, he arched an eyebrow as he saw O had almost crawled completely inside the trash can. What are you doing? Hiro questioned. You humans has no idea of what is useful and what is not, O explained as he pulled himself out of the trash can and held a rotten banana peel up for Hiro to see. You has thrown away perfectly good food. With that, O tossed the banana peel into his mouth and began happily chewing on it, Hiro making a disgusted face in response. Well, if you're done eating out of the garbage, I need to get you to my house, Hiro explained as he shook his head at O. Follow me, and keep quiet. Do not his worries, Hiro Hamada, O stated as he began to follow Hiro out of the alley. Boov our best species at keeping quiet. Yak our best species at being loud. Why do I keep talking about My Little Pony stuff? I'll try not to reference it too much, because this fanfic is supposed to be a break from it. After sneaking through alleys and around dark corners, Hiro and O made it to the Lucky Cat Cafe, the boy having to shush the Boov multiple times on their trip. Sneaking up the driveway, Hiro opened the garage door and ushered O inside. What is being this place? O questioned as he looked around. It's my garage and workshop, Hiro explained. You'll be staying here until we figure everything out. It is not best working shop, O observed, oblivious to Hiro narrowing his eyes at the Boov, but it will be most excellent hiding place. Hiro narrowed his eyes further as he watched O walk over to one of his workbenches and reach for something on it. Don't touch that, Hiro snapped. O jerked his hand back from the item he was reaching for. The device resembled a metal headband with exposed circuits and blinking lights. What is this device? O questioned, his eyes wide with fascination. It's a neurotransmitter, Hiro explained with a tired sigh, pinching the bridge of his nose as he talked. It reads brainwaves and transmits them as an electronic signal. It does not appear functional, O observed. It's a work in progress, Hiro informed him as he made his way towards the door leading to the house. Look, it's been a long day and I'm going to bed. Just make sure nobody sees you in here. Hide if you hear anyone coming, and don't come out unless you know it's me or one of the girls. I understands, O said, smiling genuinely at the boy, causing him to pause and look at the booth. Thank you for your assistance, Hiro Hamada. Yeah, well, don't thank me yet. We still need to figure out if this will bite us in the ass or not, Hiro replied as he opened the door and stepped through. Then you can find some way to thank me. With that, Hiro walked out of the garage and closed the door behind him, leaving O alone. O looked at the door for a moment before turning his attention back to the neurotransmitter, a smile spreading across his face. I believe I have already found a means of thanks, O stated, before walking over to the workbench and picking the neurotransmitter up. Ooh. Author's note. Another week, another chapter. It was a lot of fun introducing O, and I'm interested in seeing what you guys thought. It was fun too, Finmonster. And you know what? I have a very good feeling that O is going to have a very important role somewhere in this story. Possibly in the next chapter, when we start the emotional roller coaster. But that's just my opinion. As always, I'm the Masked Ranger, saying thank you for reading this. It's going to be one heck of a ride, and leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed it, possibly. I hope to see you all again next chapter. Peace.